Football! Yeah! Football!
What's up, everyone? Dustin Danko heading into week one.
Football!
One game's already happened. Decent game for us to watch just to get us teased. Then we got to wait all the way till Sunday. But we got games on the site this year. Brent, tell them how to get there.
So it's those daily auction games. We're going to be in it. If you come in first place, you get a fancy FST t-shirt. So this is all that you do. You go to our site, FantasySmackTalk.com, click on the fantasy games, sign up or log in. Once you do that, you'll see a tab that says check out the action. There's 4 different boxes. We're going to be the 3rd box. You'll see Fantasy Smack Talk Week 1. Click on it, pick your players. You can change it each week. It's awesome.
It's good times. It'll be fun. We've partnered up with Fan Saloon. They're hooking it up for us, so we'll see you in there. Let's get into those forum questions. First one comes from Jay Ciprian. Which receiver should they start this week? Antonio Brown at Denver or Brandon Lloyd at Tennessee? 76% of the FST community so far that's voted is going with Antonio Brown.
They got to be in a lot of PPR leagues, I think, because that's the only way I'd be starting Brown. In a full PPR league, I definitely would go with Brown here. But in a standard league, I kind of like Lloyd. I think the Pats are going to take a lot of deep shots, and I think he finds the end zone this week.
Brent likes Lloyd too much.
I
think Brown's the way to go here.
It's not either way. You're in a good situation. Next on the list, we got which running back would you start in a full PPR league? And this is from Look, it's Mr. Chris. He wants to know, should he be starting Sproles versus the Washington Redskins or Doug Martin versus Carolina? The community says with 58%, Sproles.
I mean, I love me some Doug Martin. I'm excited to see what he does against Carolina. They were terrible against the run last year. But in a full PPR, how do you not start Sproles? I think in a standard league, I would probably lean a little bit towards Martin. It's still a little scary starting a rookie without knowing what he's going to do in a full game and just not necessarily knowing how Blunt's going to factor in just yet. But Sproles, in this scenario, definitely the pick here. I think you got it. I'm surprised only 58% of the community is saying Sproles.
Our community's smarter than that.
All right, we got a quarterback question from Fantasy Guru. Should they go with Michael Vick, Guru, at Cleveland or Phillip Rivers at Oakland? 68% right now is going with Vick.
All right, so between Vick and Rivers, I got to be going Vick here. He's going to be as healthy as he can be heading into this week. I know Joe Hayden appealed the suspension, so he'll be there, but I expect Vick to run a ton. I think he's going to play great as well. I would go with Michael Vick at this point.
Agreed. So before we get into those sleepers and duds, let's talk about that waiver wire priority number real quick. It makes me so furious when I see people wasting it, especially right after the draft, to pick up a guy that would have cleared waivers and they wouldn't have had to use their
pick. Or a kicker.
I've seen people use their waivers on kickers. It is so important that you treat that waiver number very carefully, and it's very important. You have to, even in our leagues, we allow people to trade your waiver numbers, and people will give up decent players to get up at the 1 or number 2 slot. Because those players having that number can really turn into a great player. Don't waste it. Be careful with it, and try to get as close to 1 as you can.
Yeah, Dustin and I really look at the number 1 waiver as basically a starting running back. Because if a great back goes down, hopefully you can get their backup with the number 1 waiver. Little tidbit: Kevin Ogletree, not worth the number 1 waiver. I don't care. Watch Dustin's waiver wire show coming next Monday, but I hope he agrees. Not worth the number 1 waiver.
We'll talk a little more about it. Let's get into those sleepers and duds. Mine, I'm going with Kendall Wright. I really like him this week. I'm starting to buy a little bit more into the rookie receivers having an instant impact. It is really starting to happen more often. They're going up against New England. They're going to be down early. They're going to be throwing a lot. Kenny Britt's out. I don't necessarily like him week 2 once Kenny Britt's back. But week 1, I love the matchup, and I'm starting him over Macklin in one of my leagues. He thinks I'm
trying to talk him out of it, folks.
It's not happening. I'm starting him. The upside's there. My dud, Cedric Benson, the ex-Bengal, is going up against San Francisco with his first start. I know he had a good preseason. I know he's on a great offense, but he only averages 3 yards a carry. He's not going to touch the ball enough to have an impact. He might find the end zone, but in my opinion, not worth the risk.
All right, my sleeper is Greg Olsen versus the Bucks. First of all, Bucks defense, it's just terrible. It was awful last year. They barely improved in the offseason. And without Shockey there, I'm really liking Greg Olsen this year. That's a little preview to our new segment coming up next. But so Anyway, Greg Olsen, I think it's a perfect guy to always grab if you had like Witten. Hopefully you bench Witten. I really like his upside this week. Then my dud is going to be Stevie Johnson, or Steve Johnson now. He's playing the Jets and Darrelle Revis, and a lot of people think he has Revis's number. Revis has heard this as well. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Revis is a shutdown corner. I think he's going to pretty much own Steve Johnson this week because he's heard all of the hype about it. You know, last time that Steve Johnson really got him, he was coming off some hamstring injuries, and there was some other fluky plays the second time. Regardless, I don't think he's a must bench, but if you got a guy like Kevin Smith and it's a flex kind of contest here, I would certainly go with Kevin Smith over him.
Let's talk about Mike's picks now. His sleeper is Turbin, back up to Lynch out in Seattle. With Lynch's back stuff flaring up, who knows if he's going to play. Turbin could be a good guy to pick up, and if Lynch doesn't play, all these kind of question marks with AP, Trent Richardson, Mendenhall, he could be a decent fill-in spot for you for week 1. They're going up against Arizona. You should be able to have some success against them. And his dud, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, the new Bengal, going up against Baltimore. Ben Jarvis, he's another guy. They replaced Benson, who gets 3 yards a carry, with Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, who also gets 3 yards a carry. Tough matchup, not really worth it. If you have any type of other option, we say go for it, or Mike says go for it. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, dud week 1. Now, our new segment, Dustin and Brent.
Bet of the week!
I wasn't going to be that dramatic about it, but the bet of the week.
The bet of the week!
This week, we got Greg Olsen. I wasn't going to pick another tight end. I just want Greg Olsen. We picked a points amount. Our number was 8.9.
That's right.
This is in a .75 point per reception league. Point for every 10. Brent, sell me on Greg Olsen for why.
All right, this all started because I like we have another side bet. Greg Olsen, top 12 tight end this year. Dustin thinks there's no chance. But if you combined him and Shockey's number, Shockey's not there anymore, over last year, 82 catches, almost 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. Now, I know he's not going to automatically get all of those looks, but the other tight ends they have there are garbage. I don't like Cam Newton throwing deep. He only threw for over 200 yards the second half of the year. It's because they were taking away the deep ball. When you take away the deep ball, the intermediate route's open. Who's there but Greg Olsen, the most targeted pass catcher in the preseason for Cam? I think he has a big year. Certainly a top 12, if not a top 10, if not a top 8 tight end. And he's going to start the year off right with probably a touch, bunch of catches.
So if you go with this argument, if Gronkowski leaves New England and leaves Aaron Hernandez,
and you're taking the most extreme example.
30 touchdowns.
Let's take the backup to Vernon Davis.
Greg Olsen has been a starter pretty much since he came into the league. Once a mediocre tight end, always a mediocre tight end. Even if he has a career year, he still might not even crack the top 12 because he's never even had that good of a year. We'll see what happens.
He had Rex Grossman when he was young. Then Mike Martz came, who never throws to the tight end.
If Jimmy Graham was on those Chicago teams with Rex Grossman, do you think he would only had 40 catches for 500 yards?
It's Jimmy Graham, but still,
so
he wouldn't have done that great. Shockey left, Graham blows up.
Okay.
It's going to be the same thing. Shockey's the key to everything.
He was holding them back.
The key to everything.
He was holding them back.
Olsen's going to be
That's our week 1 show.
It's going to be
Get into those forums.
Fantasy games.
Sign up for
fantasy
those games.
Greg Olsen. You know what? Put Greg Olsen on your fantasy. He'll be money.
4 catches, 40 yards.
Lock, I'm winning the bet.